Police opened fire in Taichung last night, injuring a man suspected of having mental health issues. All the gold bars in yesterday's robbery are recovered by officers. And Donald Trump claims victory in the war against Iran, despite reports the U.S. are sending more troops. Good evening and welcome to TVB News. The police opened fire in Taichung last night. A man armed with a knife was shot 5 times by 3 police officers in the early hours of this morning. The man is suspected to have mental health issues. Samantha Lee has the story.
After the incident, police officers arrived at Castle Peak Road to gather evidence. A metal pipe and knife were found on the ground. The police first received a report at 12:30 a.m. about an armed man wandering around Chunwan MTR station. However, officers couldn't find him upon arrival. Another report came half an hour later. It said the man was brandishing a serrated knife at private cars on the Taichung section of Castle Peak Road. Officers rushed to the scene and the man came out of the bushes, holding a 20-inch knife and a 1-meter-long metal pipe. Verbal warnings from the officers were ignored. Subsequently, 3 officers fired a total of 5 shots at him. Senior Superintendent Yu Wing-Kan said the armed man rushed towards the officers while yelling, "I will kill you." Yu believes his colleagues had no choice but to open fire. The 43-year-old man was sent to Princess Margaret Hospital. Bullet holes were found on his right thigh and right chest. He is a construction worker and has no criminal record. The police initially suspect he has mental health issues as he was seen wearing a dress and muttering to himself. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Police arrested 4 men and 1 woman who were involved in a robbery of gold bars in Hong Kong yesterday. All stolen gold bars were retrieved. The 73 pieces of 1 kilogram gold bars worth around $93 million were recovered. The robbery took place at about 2 p.m. yesterday, when a female employer of the gold exchange office was conducting a transaction with a buyer. She asked 2 security guards to leave for the sake of privacy. All of a sudden, 2 men and a woman burst into the office and took 73 gold bars, together with a buyer. They escaped in 2 waiting private cars. The police arrested the suspects who remain in custody. Hong Kong recorded 1 more local case of meningococcal infection involving a 3-year-old boy. The child remains in a serious condition. This as the city has recorded 4 such cases so far this year, with the Department of Health stressing that it will closely monitor the situation.
In recent days, a meningitis outbreak in the UK's southern county of Kent resulted in the deaths of at least 2 people. While 4 local cases have been reported this year in Hong Kong, with the latest case involving a 3-year-old boy. Just like the other patients, the child did not travel outside of the city during the incubation period. The Department of Health said all 4 cases were unrelated to the field of epidemiology. Dr. Edwin Cui, controller of the Center for Health Protection, said it may be difficult to find the source of infection, adding that chances of infection are higher in crowded spaces. He noted that authorities will also investigate whether the latest cases in the city are related to the Kent cases. Meanwhile, Director of Health Dr. Ronald Lam reminded residents that symptoms of meningococcal infection include sudden fevers, intense headaches, as well as developing spots on the body. He hopes the community could actively participate in prevention work, such as getting vaccinated, and those experiencing symptoms should promptly seek medical help. Lam also called on the public to wear masks when in crowded areas. With the Easter holidays just around the corner, the Department of Health said it will deploy personnel to the airport to monitor the health conditions of overseas students returning from abroad.
International oil prices have been volatile due to the Middle East situation. To help drivers compare petrol prices, the government will make a weekly announcement on fuel price changes starting next month. Samantha Lee has more.
The ongoing conflicts in the Middle East has sent oil prices surging. Speaking on the radio program, Secretary for the Environment and Ecology Zai Qinwan said fuel supply to Hong Kong remains stable. However, concerns have persisted regarding a possible collusion by oil companies over prices. Starting next month, oil company prices and international oil price trends will be published weekly to increase transparency. He believes the reports would be able to help motorists monitor petrol price changes more accurately. The rise in fuel prices has led power companies to indicate that it may affect fuel costs. Does that mean electricity prices will increase in the short term? They said regarding electricity tariffs, it depends on how long the international impact lasts. If it is short-term, lasting for a month, the impact on electricity prices should be minor. But it is long-term, it may affect electricity prices due to rising fuel prices. That said, the proportion of green electricity supplied to Hong Kong from the mainland will increase in the future, including the Daya Bay nuclear power plant, which may help reduce local electricity fees in the long run. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
3 weeks into the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran, U.S. President Donald Trump has made a declaration of victory and suggested he's mulling winding down their military campaign in the region. In Tehran, some senior officials are not convinced of Trump's statements amid U.S. media reports that the Pentagon is sending additional troops to the Middle East. Dan Zhou has more.
As Iranians mark the Persian New Year Nowruz, Tehran fired on more than 55 Israeli military facilities and U.S. bases in neighboring Gulf Arab states. The Wall Street Journal reported that 2 Iranian intermediate-range ballistic missiles were launched at Diego Garcia, but they did not hit the U.S.-UK military base in the Indian Ocean. On Friday, U.S. President Donald Trump spoke to reporters at the White House alongside Secretary of State Marco Rubio, asserting that Washington has won the war with Iran.
Oh, I think we've won. We've knocked out their Navy, their Air Force. We've knocked out their anti-aircraft. We've knocked out everything. We're roaming free. From a military standpoint, all they're doing is clogging up the strait. But from a military standpoint, they're finished.
Trump further noted it would be a simple military maneuver to keep the Strait of Hormuz open, but it requires help.
It's a simple military maneuver. It's relatively safe, but you need a lot of help in the sense of you need ships, you need volume. And NATO could help us, but they so far haven't had the courage to do so. And others could help us, but, we don't use it. At a certain point, it'll open itself.
The Trump administration is reportedly considering plans to occupy or blockade Karg Island, a critical terminal for oil exports, to pressure Iran to reopen the strait. Additionally, sources say the United States military is sending the USS Boxer and 2 other amphibious assault ships along with 2,500 Marines to the Middle East, sparking speculation about the possible deployment of U.S. ground forces in Iran. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
The U.S. Justice Department is filing a new lawsuit against Harvard University, saying its leadership failed to address anti-Semitism on campus, creating grounds for the government to freeze existing grants and seek repayment for grants already paid. The DOJ wrote in the lawsuit that the United States cannot and will not tolerate these failures and brings this action to compel Harvard to comply with federal civil rights law. The lawsuit comes after negotiations appear to have bogged down in the months-long battle with the Trump administration that has tested the boundaries of the government's authority over American universities. What began as an investigation into campus anti-Semitism escalated into the Trump administration slashing more than $2.6 billion in research funding. And still ahead, more information about the government booking system for campsites. The Minister of Commerce, Wang Wentao, meets Apple CEO Tim Cook in Beijing. And the fashionable ComplexCon kicks off today at the Asia World Expo. Welcome back. The government is considering the introduction of a reservation system at some countryside tourist attractions before the Golden Week in October. Secretary for the Environment and Ecology, Zhe Wan, said the system will be the first trialed in areas around the Cyclone East campground. Samantha Lee tells us more.
In recent years, many country parks are overcrowded during long holidays, causing hygiene and transport-related problems. To address the issues, the government will introduce a reservation and charging system at popular countryside tourist attractions. Speaking on a radio program, Secretary for the Environment and Ecology Zai Qinwan said the system will first be trialled in areas around the Sai Kung East campground, including Ham Tin Wan and Long Ki Wan. It is expected to take effect before the National Day Golden Week. He said charges will only apply on holidays and periods with high tourist volume. There said many tourist destinations in the world charge fees to improve management and facilities. He said Hong Kong has many beautiful places. Perhaps the city can develop attractive tourism products or let travel companies create projects or tours. For instance, visitors not only can enjoy the tour in the East Dam, but also have a seafood meal. A representative from the tourism sector said there are around 100 hill walking tour guides in the city. Timothy Choi, executive director of the Hong Kong Tourism Association, said tour guides need to have experience in hiking and outdoor activities in order to manage trips in the countryside. He believes more training should be provided. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Minister of Commerce Wang Wentao met with visiting Apple CEO Tim Cook in Beijing on Friday to exchange views on Sino-U.S. economic and trade relations. Cook pointed out China as Apple's most important production base and the primary source of its supply chain. Wang underscored the important consensus following 6 rounds of trade talks between the two countries, adding China is advancing high-standard opening up and focusing on building stable supply chains. Wang said it hoped that Apple will keep firm confidence in its development in China. Cook said Apple has been continuously boosting its innovation, cooperation, green development, and industrial chain in collaboration with China. After a 4-year break, K-pop supergroup BTS returns this evening with a massive free comeback concert in Seoul. The government have stepped up anti-terror monitoring, citing global tensions and large crowds of international fans. Tracy Furness has more.
Seoul's Gwanghwamun area, where BTS fans from around the world gathered Friday and Saturday to watch the South Korean boy band's comeback concert after more than 3 years away. The concert comes alongside their new album release, which sold 3.98 million copies on its first day.
I'm traveling from California. I came for 3 days to enjoy the comeback concert. I've been a fan for a few years, but I've never seen a real album release. I'm very, very excited to see all of them together on stage. Yeah.
ARMY is so huge, and we all support them and we support each other. So this comeback means for us just being together, celebrating them, celebrating the new era that is coming for BTS and for ARMY, and we are just so excited and we are thrilled.
Besides around 20,000 ticketed fans at the square, about 240,000 others are expected to fill nearby areas to watch the concert on temporary screens. Authorities have blocked roads, with cars barred from the main road between Gwanghwamun and Seoul City Hall for more than 30 hours through Sunday morning. The government have also stepped up anti-terror monitoring as a result of global tensions and large crowds of international fans, police deploying surveillance vehicles and jamming equipment to block unauthorized drones. The restrictions have caused nearby shops to close and deliveries paused. Hundreds of fans erupted in cheers as the faces of each BTS member lit up the night sky in Seoul during a spectacular drone light show Friday. During the 15-minute show, around 2,000 drones also created a dazzling array of shapes set to BTS tracks from their latest album, Ararang. The performance took place at the Riverside Park, Tuk Seong Hangang Park, as part of the various fan events. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
The 2-day-long ComplexCon kicked off today at the Asia World Expo, attracting scores of residents and tourists to the annual Creative and Cultural Gala.
Bringing global pop culture to Hong Kong for the 3rd year, some of ComplexCon's top attractions this year include this giant Labubu doll. An ensemble of more than 150 booths showcasing the latest streetwear, music, and the arts awaited revelers who began queuing as early as Friday evening. Several of them carried suitcases, fully prepared for a shopping spree.
4,000-5,000蚊應該。
This Shenzhen tourist said he has already spent around $5,000, with the purchase of Labubu-themed products being his primary goal. While this Guangdong tourist said he's excited even after waiting outside the venue for an entire night, stressing that it's a worthwhile sacrifice. This as the pop culture festival was hosted outside the US and in Hong Kong for the first time 3 years ago. Having found its new hosting venue in the city, the gala found scores of new fans from Asia over the past few years. Many held the move given the difficulty of acquiring a US visa. Among participants in this year's festival, some of them wish to use the opportunity to promote Hong Kong's unique culture. Kenji, a local designer who has taken part in the gala for 3 consecutive years, said while there are not too many traditional handicrafts in Hong Kong than in places like Japan, the art form could be better showcased to the international community via its incorporation of pop culture. Hoping to introduce the traditional Chinese concept of feng shui to foreign visitors, the owner of this booth combined the ancient practice with toys in hopes of bringing good fortune to their buyers. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism, Rosanna Law, stressed this year's venue incorporated an even more diverse range of local culture.
I'm delighted to see that our city's distinctive arts and cultural DNA makes it the perfect home for this global convergence of style, sneakers, music, arts, and many more.
This year's ComplexCon marked the 3rd occasion the event was funded by the government's Mega Arts and Cultural Events Fund.
And that's the news. Thanks for watching.